So a big welcome to all the new subscribers that have joined me over the last 12 months. It's really great to have you all on board. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And to all my regular watchers, thanks very much for hanging in with me whilst I get all this renovation stuff done. I know it's not my regular videos, and hopefully things will all get back to normal once I get the new workshop built. So let's get into where I'm up to. So the reason I was taking particular note of the dates in that last update video was because of the fibro sheeting that's on the walls. And my concern was that they were going to contain asbestos. Luckily enough, it turns out that the bulk of them didn't. There was about 3 sheets that did, and I'll show you the differences on how to tell which ones do and which ones don't. The most obvious one being the fact that there's that one there that has without asbestos on it, but unfortunately on some of the other sheets that I've already removed here, that symbol was either not there because it had been cut off, or it was so poorly printed that I was uninclined to trust that it actually didn't have any asbestos in it. So as a result, I covered up and put a mask on and treated it pretty much as it could do, just in case. So it's fairly safe to say that given the age of the structure, at some point about 90% of the outside lining was replaced with the new asbestos-free stuff, which has certainly saved me a little bit of grief in terms of the removal of it. The last couple of bits that were existing of the original material only constituted about 4 panels, which was a piece just underneath the window there, and 2 full boards behind the barrel there. So probably no more than about 5 or 6 square metres of it in total. I've separated the pieces out into the pieces that have the possible contamination and the regular stuff, but I'm going to bag it all up into plastic bags and wrap it up for proper disposal and treat it just as if it's all the same sort of stuff anyway, just for the sake of safety. So if you ever come across this fibro sheeting that has this dimpling, this golf ball sort of texture on the back of it, it almost undoubtedly is the stuff that does contain asbestos. Another way you can tell is by giving it a light tap. This stuff has got a sort of tinny or a hard sort of sound to it, as opposed to the more modern day equivalent, which has a more hollow sort of sound when you're hitting it. Another really good way of knowing what you're working with is to have a look at any of the cracks that may happen to be in it. On the modern version of the board, you'll see that it's sort of made up of layers, and the cracks tend to have an uneven surface or a bit of a furry edge to them. Some of the crack pieces may sort of hang on to itself a little bit and won't sort of immediately break away. And that sort of thing never really happens with the pieces that contain asbestos. You can also see that it breaks pretty easily, as opposed to this dimpled stuff, which is really hard to snap by comparison. And as you can see along the edge there, it's a really clean break. There's no fibrous aspects to it, and it's a nice sharp bit. There's no layers involved in the actual edge. Now, whilst these are all pretty good indicators, there's no absolute guarantee when it comes to this sort of stuff, and that's why I've treated it as if it may contain the harmful fibres. And the other thing is that there's a lot of dust associated with this job anyway, so wearing a mask and gloves and protective gear is the better way to go anyhow. But hopefully that'll give you some tips if you ever need to work with this sort of stuff yourself. In Australia you can remove up to 10 square metres of this stuff yourself, but check your local areas if you're working with any of this board that you think is potentially harmful, and obviously just look out for yourself when you're doing these sort of jobs. So I've come out nice and early in the morning because I bought myself a laser level, and I thought I'd show you guys really quickly how this is helping me work out the new level as far as the concrete floor is concerned. I'm hoping that you can pick it up in the corner there, so that's where the 2 beams come together as far as the corner is concerned. If I swing this thing around, hopefully you can follow the dot. It's a self-leveling sort of thing, so it wobbles a little bit as it finds its new level. And there's the top of the beam sort of set there as well. And the other thing it'll do for me now is start working out where the top level needs to be. You can see that the bit of a rock there is sitting above the level point. So it means that I can now set this level to a lower point, set it to about 10 centimetres, which is how thick I want the concrete slab to be. Because I've got this thing set up in the centre of what the room is going to be, I can sweep it around the outside, and any high spots will get picked up by the laser. So I'll wait until the sun comes up a little bit more, and then I'll show you guys where I'm up to. Okay, so now that we've got a little bit more daylight, a lot of this rubble that you can see laying around is going to go back into shoring up the foundations of that corner there where it's the least level, and then I'll taper it all out so that I've got an even sort of 10 centimetres thickness of concrete slab on top of everything. It's taken me quite a while to get up to this sort of stage. I'm using a steel framing system that's going to act as the formwork for the concrete, and it's also going to stay in place. I'm not going to remove it, so it's got a lipped edge to it, which should make for a really nice edge to what I'm doing. But the biggest problem with what I was doing was these 2 walls, this side wall here and the back wall here, that marry up to what was the original corner, or what I'm calling the most level corner of the place. And the problem is that the back wall there, in comparison to the front wall where the old garage is, there was a full 35 centimetres difference in the length of each wall. As well as that, the side wall there, in comparison to the side wall on the other side, was 30 centimetres shorter. So what that meant when it came to tidying it all up is I had to excavate the edge out a fair bit wider than what it was originally, where in the corner it goes back down to nothing there, you can see that it tapers out wider and wider and wider towards the back until it reaches that new corner. So what I need to do now is backfill all those areas that are really low, which will mean quite a lot in that back corner, and then tapering down to virtually nothing as we reach the back, so that, as I said, we've got about a 10 centimetre thickness of reinforced concrete for the slab. Don't forget to check out the little bonus bit at the end of this video. But that's the update for this time, guys. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.
Mr. Chris Hemsworth!
I wanted to ask, who was your favourite Avenger to work with on set and why?
That's like choosing your favourite kid, isn't it? They're all my children, that's right. No, seriously, I love them all.
How are you? Yeah. Awesome. How long did it take you?
About 3 weeks.
Oh, wow. Good work.
Thanks.
Thank you.